Sepak Takraw is a sport which is played all throughout Southeast Asia. It is called Sepak Raga in Malay, Sipa in Filipino, Khao Mei Lin in Vietnam, and Katao in Laos. This sport is also known as kick volleyball. It is actually slightly different from volleyball. Sepak Takraw uses a rattan ball and the players only use their feet, knee, chest, and head to touch the ball.
Sepak Takraw is a foot volleyball game where players touch as well as handle the ball using only their feet, knee, chest, and head. The rules and regulations of the game are very much similar to that of volleyball. A very popular game around Southeast Asia, the game is played using a rattan or synthetic ball. Since 1990, Sepak Takraw is also included in Asian Games. Similar to volleyball, here also two teams of players try to control the ball by touching it using only their feet, chest, knee, or head and try to kick the ball past the net to the opposition side. Failure to kick the ball past the net results in a point to the opposition, and the first team scoring the maximum point is declared winner.
Sepak Takraw was originated in Malaysia around 500 years ago. In the 15th century, it was mostly played with the royal court. Around 16th century, the game was spread across Indonesia where people called it Sepak Raga. By 1940, the net version of the game was spread across Southeast Asia and formal rules and regulations were formed for the game. The first official Sepak Takraw competition was held at a swim club on May 16, 1945 in Penang, where teams mostly from various villages of the Penang participated in it. During that period, the game used to be called Sepak Raga Jaring. Slowly, the game spread across Southeast Asia and around 1950s, it was played in almost every school. The Malaysian Sepak Raga Federation was founded in 1960 at Penang, and in 1965, it was included in the Southeast Asia Peninsular Games. It was then formally named as Sepak Takraw, and in 1965, the Asian Sepak Takraw Federation was founded as the governing committee of the sports. In the year 1992, the International Sepak Takraw Federation was formed as the world governing body of the game.
The following are the terminologies for Sepak Takraw. First term is regu. Regu is a Malaysian term for team, and each regu contains 3 players, which is the minimum, and 2 reserve players, making it a maximum of 5 players. Next term is the feeder / setter / tosser / bowler, and this player is the most responsive in the team. This player is usually in front and on the right side of the server. Next term is block, and this is the defensive skill to counter a spike coming from close to net or preventing the other team from scoring points. Next term is spike, and spike is a powerful shot performed by the attacking team towards the opponent's half of the court using the foot or head. This shot is hard and fast, making them difficult to block. It also has various kinds, and it includes roll spike and sandbag spike. Next term is the horse kick serve. This is difficult to perform since it requires players to have a high degree of flexibility. It usually refers to a high kick. Next is dig, the act of fielding hard-hit balls successfully, usually a spike or block, to regain control. An example of dig is made by Thailand at a crucial point in the game. Next term is header, and header is a type of a basic hit. This is used frequently in games to deflect upwards a high angle pass of fast serve to the upper body. This shot is mostly performed when the ball height is too much for performing a shot using their legs. This shot is played both as a serving as well as striking a shot.
Tekong. Tekong is the server of the serving team. He stands in the serving circle. Tekong is fed the ball by another teammate, which is the feeder, or setter, or tosser, attacker, or striker, or killer. This is the player that stands at the net to the inside left of the Tekong. Attacker, or striker, or killer is a position at either corner of the net in the corner of a half circle. This position is focused on delivering hard shots to other team. Soul kick. The soul kick is when a player uses the bottom of their shoe to make contact. Often, the aim is for it to be unexpected soft touch to take the other team by surprise. But this kick can also be powerful. Center line. The center line divides the length of the playing court into two equal halves. Its measurement is 0.02 and is drawn in the middle of the court. Dink. A soft hit ball, usually either a dink serve or a dink spike. First ball. First ball is a term used to describe receiving the serve by the opposing team. Service over. When the serving team fails to return the ball over the net or commits a fault, the opposing team becomes the serving team, but a point is not awarded. Serving circle. A circle located in both halves of the court where the server is required to be positioned during the service. Service. The act of putting the ball into play by the back player. Play begins when the server is thrown the ball by a teammate and must then kick the ball over the net whilst keeping one foot in the service circle. Service or hand toss. A hand throw of the ball by one of the forward or inside players to the back who must kick the ball into play in one try. Inside kick. An inside kick is the most basic form of kick performed by Sepak Takraw players. It is mostly used to control the ball. Outside kick. This shot mostly used as a part of defense in order to propel the ball move upward. Knee kick. The knee kick is mostly a defensive shot and performed mostly while defending a serve from the opponent's side.
Net. Like in all net sports, a net separates one half of the court from the other. The net used in the game is usually made of ordinary cord or nylon with 6 to 8 centimeters mesh and is usually heavier and stronger than badminton nets in order to provide better impact when the ball hits it. The net shall be 0.7 meters with a maximum length of 6.1 meters. The height of the net should be 1.42 meters from the center of the court for women and 1.52 meters for men.
Ball. Considered as the most essential equipment of the game, the ball is spherical in shape and usually made of synthetic fiber. In some cases, a hand-woven layer is also used. Initially, the ball was made up of rattan strips which were gradually replaced by synthetic strips. The ball has a maximum weight of 170 to 180 grams for men and 150 to 160 grams for women. Usually, the ball has a diameter of 5 inch. Balls made of without synthetic rubber must have 12 holes and 20 intersections, with a maximum circumference of 42 to 44 cm for men and 43 to 45 cm for women. The ball can be a single-colored or multicolored, but colors impairing players' performance are not allowed. Player. The game is played between two teams which are known as regu. There are two types of Sepak Takraw events, the regu and doubles regu. Regu has 3 players on each side, while doubles Regu has 2 players in each team. In Regu, each team has 3 players including 2 substitute players. On the court, the team comprises of a striker, a server, and a feeder. Each player possesses different set of skills and tactics. Their role also determines their positions on the court. The Tekong typically stands at the back, while the 2 other team members stand on opposite ends. Tekong or server. The main purpose of Tekong's role is to serve the ball. Ideally, he will send the ball across the net with great speed, making it hard for the opponent to defend. The Tekong can also surprise opponents by serving over a drop ball. Killer, also called the striker. His goal is to execute volleys into the opponent's court. When not in possession of the ball, the killer will be responsible for blocking any incoming spikes. Feeder. The feeder has the most control over the ball in the game. When in possession of the ball, they will set the ball to the preference of their strikers. However, the feeder too should be able to spike the ball. This role is usually reserved for the most responsive of the team. Players' attire. Any attire that allows players to have any advantages over other players is not permitted. Opposing teams must wear different colored jerseys, and each team should have a minimum of 2 sets of jerseys, one light and other dark. Home team players must change the color of their jersey if the opposing team wears a similar color during competition. Player attire includes jersey, shorts, sock, and sports shoes with no heels. All jerseys must be tucked, and players are allowed tracksuits when playing in cold weather conditions. All jerseys must be numbered, and players are assigned numbers 1 to 15 for the duration of the competition. Captains of each team must wear an armband on the left arm that is a different color to the team jersey.
Sepak Takraw competitions. International play of Sepak Takraw is now governed by ISTAF, the International Sepak Takraw Federation, and isn't only held in Asia but also in other Western countries. Major competitions for the sport such as the ISTAF Super Series, the ISTAF World Cup, and the King's Cup World Championships are held every year. Sepak Takraw is now a regular sport event in the Asian Games and the Southeast Asian Games, in which Thailand has won the most medals for. It has been included in the Asian Games since the 1990 Asian Games in Beijing, China.
Each match must be officiated by a match referee, an assistant match referee, a court referee, 1 linesman to the right of the match referee along the sideline, and 1 linesman to the right of the assistant match referee along the sideline. The throw must be executed as soon as the referee calls the score. If either of the inside players throws the ball before the referee calls the score, it must be a rethrown and warning given to the regu. A repetition of this act will be considered as fault. During the service, as soon as a Tekong kicks the ball, all the players are allowed to move about freely in their respective courts. The service is valid if the ball passes over the net, whether it touches the net or not, and inside the boundary of the 2 net tapes and boundary lines of the opponent's court. The play ends when the ball has touched the ground. In a knockout system, the team do not have to play the 3rd regu if the winner has been decided. In a league system, it is mandatory for all teams to complete the 3 sets of regus.
Faults in Sepak Takraw. A fault is deemed to have occurred in the event of the following. First, faults occurred in the serving side during service. The Tekong or server making service throws plays about with the ball, such as throwing up the ball, bumping or giving to other inside player after the call of the score has been made by the referee. The non-serving player of the serving regu move away from his adopted position when the service is being made. The tekong still not in relative position after the 15-second rule for the second time. During the execution of the service, the tekong's non-kicking foot is lifted off the floor prior to the kicking foot's contact with the ball, or the non-kicking foot touches the baseline. The tekong's kicking foot touches the baseline during the execution of the service. Any of the tekong's foot enters the court or touches the baseline while the service is being made, even if it is during a follow-through. The tekong does not kick the ball on the service throw. The ball touches his own player before crossing the net. The ball goes over the net but lands outside the court. The ball fails to cross the net. A player uses his hand or hands or any part of his arms to support the execution of a kick, even if the hand or arm does not directly touch the ball, but it touches other objects or surfaces instead. And lastly, for the faults committed in the serving side during service, the tekong of the serving regu throws the ball to serve before the referee calls the score for the second or subsequent time during the match. Second, faults occurred in serving and receiving side during service. Deliberately creating distractions by shouting, making noise, or gesturing at the opponent after the referee calls the score. Third, faults occurred for both sides during the game. Touching the ball on the opponent's side, any part of player's body crossing over into opponent's court, whether above or under the net except during the follow-through. Playing the ball more than 3 times in succession, the ball touches the player's arm, stopping or holding the ball under the arm between the legs or body. Any part of the body or player's outfit such as shoes, jersey, headband, etc. that touches the net or the post or the referee's chair or falls into the opponent's side. The ball touches the roof, wall, or any object except the net. And lastly, for faults occurred for both sides during the game, any player using the aid of any external object as a form of support to facilitate
Penalties in
the
Sepak
execution of a
Takraw.
kick.
In order to make a match free from any controversy, players are enforced with different penalties in order to behave inappropriately and with proper sportsman attitude during the game. In some of the cases, players are normally cautioned, whereas in some severe offenses, the players are sent off. Details are as follows. The cases when a player is given a caution and shown the yellow card are: first, if the player is showing unsporting behaviors which are against the norms of the sports ethics. Second, if the player is persistently breaking the laws of the game. Third, if the player is delaying the restart of the game. And fourth, if the player enters or re-enters or deliberately leaves the court without taking the referee's permission. And in some cases where a player is sent off and shown the red card are: first, if the player is guilty of serious foul play. Second, if the player is guilty of violent conduct by deliberately trying to injure his opponent players. Third, if the player either speaks or uses any offensive languages against any of the opponent players. And fourth, if the player gets 2 yellow cards in the same game. When the player gets the first yellow card, normal caution is given to him. In case of getting a second yellow card in the same match, the player is suspended from the next match. Similarly, if a player gets a third yellow card in the same match, he gets suspended for the next 2 matches with a fine of $100. And in case of a fourth yellow card in the same match, the player is suspended immediate for the next as well as subsequent matches of that tournament. In case a player gets a red card, he is awarded a send-off from the game as well as immediate suspension from playing any tournament until a disciplinary committee is convened and a decision is taken. Disciplinary actions are taken against any misconduct or disturbances committed by any team officials in or outside of the court. Similar to players, a team official causing disturbances during the game gets suspended immediately till a disciplinary committee is convened and the decisions are taken.
Sepak Takraw scoring system. First, the serving regu is awarded a point when it hits the ball inbounds that the opponent can return within 3 touches, or when the opponent hits the ball out of bounds. Second, either side can score a point on any serve, but the regu that wins a point will get the next serve. Third, the opponent is awarded the point whenever the serving or receiving regu commits a fault. Fourth, each game consists of 2 sets. The winning point for a set is 21 points. Fifth, in an event of a tie score at 20-20, the set shall be decided on a difference of 2 points, up to a ceiling of 25 points. And lastly, the regu that wins 2 sets first will be the winner of the match. These are the scoring system of Sepak Takraw.
Sepak Takraw Court Dimensions. The Sepak Takraw sport is played on a similar to badminton double-sized court. Area of 13.4 by 6.1 meters or 44 feet by 20 feet. Free from all obstacles up to the height of 8 meters or 26 feet measured from the floor surface. The surfaces that courts are on seem to vary. A Sepak Takraw court is typically indoors on a floor of wood or rubber, but many courts are outdoors. Outside Sepak Takraw courts are sand, dirt, or grass. It's important to play in an area that is flat and free of obstacles. Positions of players. Each team has 3 players. The server of the serving team stands in the serving circle, while the other 2 are positioned at either corner of the net in the corner of a half circle. The setter is on the left and the striker on the right. Players from the serving team are only allowed to move from their starting positions once the ball has crossed the net. On the other side of the Sepak Takraw court stands the opposing team. They are able to move around freely as the opposing team is preparing to serve. Sepak Takraw net dimensions. Like in all net sports, a net separates one half of the court from the other. The net is required to be the width of the court, which is 6.1 meters. For the men's division, the height of the net is 1.52 meters or 5 feet. While for the women's division, the net stands at 1.42 meters or 4 feet and 6 inches. The net is typically made from some type of mesh and measures about 0.7 meters.
Sepak Takraw as a sport continues to transcend and progress over the years. In line with that, we should not forget the values behind the sport itself. Sepak Takraw is a sport that is valued and treasured over the past years in the Philippines. It is a physical sport that has been originated in the land and is distinct to us Asians. It is an affirmation of the strong cultures that Asians had developed throughout the centuries, which plays a big role in the values that we uphold from the past until now. It is played in different variations and is known by divergent names that vary from country to country, which all have the common aspiration of advancing the sport and the Asians worldwide. The incessant growth of the sport indicates how much we are glad about the game that our ancestors has passed into us. Indeed, Sepak Takraw is more than just a sport for us Asians.
Moreover, as part of a team, playing a sport such as Sepak Takraw requires work ethic, teamwork, respect, and overcoming adversity, all of which can translate into significant lessons in life. Work ethic. Youngsters and older players can learn the value of work ethic by playing Sepak Takraw. it's not just getting out on the court and playing the game. You have to go to practice several times per week to learn the skills needed to play the game well. Players who play the sport and work hard get better, which can be seen game after game. For example, a Sepak Takraw player who takes sandbag spiking practice every day likely sees an improved skill and more productivity at the plate in the second game than he did in the first game. A player who does not work as hard may not see the same kind of progress.
Teamwork. When a player kicks the ball to another player within the same team, it shows teamwork. Each individual on the team should exhibit trust, enthusiasm, ambition, as well as motivation. A team without teamwork will never be successful in the end. This is why most team coaches spend a good amount of time in order to foster teamwork within their team. Without teamwork, nothing can be achieved as a group.
Respect. At a certain point in the season, players likely see their team progressing and also see improvement in their own play. They realize the progress is the result of hard work. Players have every reason to take pride in their achievements and feel some self-respect for the way they have improved. They also realize that the team on the opposite side of the field is practicing and playing just as hard and deserving respect as well. Showing respect for your opponent leads to display of sportsmanship. That's a sign of maturity and development.
Overcoming adversity. When a player misses a kick or badly receives the ball in a game, it's easy for that Sepak Takraw player to feel sorry for himself and want to quit. However, in competitive sports, nearly all players have negative outcomes from time to time. The growth comes from the player who has the bad day, accepts it, and keeps playing and attempts to get better. When you overcome adversity, you learn that life isn't always easy and it's best to stay with difficult tasks and conquer them rather than take the easy way out.
In playing Sepak Takraw, here are some basic skills that you need to know. But before we start, always remember to do some stretching or warm up. First is the inside kick. Stand your feet apart and bend your supporting leg a little. Then hit the ball with the inside of your other foot. Inside kick is the most common skill in the Sepak Takraw because it is used in controlling the ball. Next is toe kick. Toe kick is used on receiving a ball. Let the ball bounce on your toe or raise your leg if the ball is higher. Execute it slowly and without power. Header.
In header, you need to use your head, specifically forehead or at your hair to hit the ball when it's too high for you to kick. It is used in serving and striking. Knee or thigh kick. Hitting the ball with your thigh or knee. This is also used when receiving a ball. Using your thigh instead of knee will give you much better control. When the ball is high enough, use your inner foot to strike the ball. You could also spike the ball while you're not facing the net by performing a back kick. This is called roll spike. Chest and shoulders. In playing Sepak Takraw, you can also use your chest and shoulders to bounce the ball off while getting the proper position. To make a powerful spike, you could do some combinations using the other kicks.
Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. roll it. You got to keep it focused. You wanna say so. Baby, not the moment. Keep me in the moment. I need you better know me. Why don't you say so? Baby, leave me notice. But we just got to roll it. You got to keep it focused. You wanna say so.
When I wake up in the morning, I roll up and count my money. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All my bitches love me, they gon' that's up for real. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All these bitches wanna have my baby. I'm so ransom, I'm so ballin'. Must be how my ex is calling. I'm so wavy in the turbo Porsche. She's so wavy in the new Mercedes. See a good chick, yeah, I'm a top lady. She ain't never asked, but I did it for my baby. Baby, let me on the Super Bowl. I'm getting money, but she want more. She can get it when she want it. I so happy that I need a red carpet. Oh yeah. When I wake up in the morning, I roll up and count my money. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All my bitches love me, they gon' answer for real. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. Too many niggas wanna be him. I'm so wavy in these red tears. Rolling hard neck, rich chest. Baby mama friend, she next. Dial 1-800 when you need me. On my ODC, you never be a G. Check my range, I'm stepping when you need a 3. I give a stroke for days, and when she need D, so they wanna ride with a surf guy. Little nigga got more than an ex guy. Little purse costs more than your next guy. Tell your friends don't play, cause the sex I sue out the motherfucking man where I come from. A lot of pussy there in when I come for. Dab hoes, I be caring where I come from. If you ever in the gym and you looking for a band, I jam. I wake up in the morning, I roll up and count my money. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All my bitches love me, they gon' that's up for real. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. My dog so crazy, oh so crazy. My car so wavy, my closet so wavy. My new chick so wavy, that ass is so wavy. But you know what I came in for? When I wake up in the morning, I roll up and count my money. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All my bitches love me, they gon' that's up for real. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy.
at my drip, looking at your drip. Whoa, mommy, look at me. Oh, I'm killing it. Whoa, swinging side to side and I'm killing that. Whoa, damn, your girl so fine, but her breath is like whoa. She says she wanna dance, but she don't know how to. Whoa, I'm iced out. Ooh, looking like a star. Whoa, her name is Jenny. Ooh, bitch don't have no panties. Whoa, I'm Steph Curry. When I hit the three, I hit the whoa. Pause, lean, hit you with the whoa. I'm saucy. Ooh, she don't like me. Whoa, she flexing on the gram, but her booty flat. Whoa.
Try to save my money, but I need me some more Louis V. She said take a skating, so I bought me some more jewelry. I like wearing off-white, but I'm black. Let's go with me. Don't say that she is that. How you know? She went to school with me.
Heard y'all playing for keeps. I bought her and paid for leave. Heard y'all playing for cheap. I spent like 30K each. Diamonds all white. Yeah, look like a dick and bleach. Hit on my water like flea. Ice on my neck is like -3. 10 times out of 10, I bet I hit your hoe. Ain't no average Joe. Born in 94. She wanna go on a date. I gave her chicken to go. Work to chill on my coat. She wanna ball it.
Got that drip, but I'm dripping Louis. This is D3, you only see in 2D. Do not sleep on me, better get a snuggie. My ice is TLC, man, that was chilly. Bang, 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 like the clip do. I've been sitting with the jits too. I done been shot like this, so she gon' play karma when I come back to you. Then flip a bean like so. Bang, hit that whoa, not my red do.
Off of the ground. Bitches love the ground.
Oh, wait, shit.
Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne, never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I pay her. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Met her at a party in the hills, yeah. She just wanna do it for the thrill, yeah. Shorty drop a poodle, we no top. But if I throw this money, she gon' drop. Ay, she don't wait in lines if it's too long. She don't drop the whip unless the roof fall. Only wanna call when the guy shout. Only take the pic when the ass out. She from Malibu, Malibu. If you ain't got a foreign, then she laugh at you. Malibu, Malibu. Spending daddy's money with an attitude. Roxanne, Roxanne. All she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne. Never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I pay her. Roxanne, Roxanne. All she wanna do is party all night. In LA, yeah, got no brakes, yeah. Living fast, Ricky Bobby shaking bait, yeah. See the chain, yeah. It's a late, yeah. Try to chase, ooh, she wanna date, yeah. Straight and no boo, on the coast, ooh. Shorty only like cocaine and Whole Foods, yeah. Snapping all up on the grandmas, going crazy. Now she wanna fuck me in the foreign, going, hey. I'm the Malibu, Malibu. If you ain't got a foreign, then she laughs at you. Malibu, Malibu. Spending daddy's money with an attitude. Roxanne, Roxanne. All she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne. Never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I pay her. Roxanne, Roxanne. All she wanna do is party all night.
Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the motherfucking house, bored, and I'm bored in the motherfucking house, bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Bored in the motherfucking house, bored, and I'm bored in the motherfucking house, bored. I'm bored, 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 bored. I'm bored, 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 bored.
I need me a thick chick sitting on the couch and I'm going through my Netflix. Worked in the motherfucker, I ain't even doing shit. Tell her pull up, make it shake like Nesquik. Neck frozen with nowhere to go, bitch. Poppin' COD on the PS4. Put a bitch chill like refrigerator doors. We can heat up some ramen, can't go to the store. I ain't even going tour. Nigga so bored, I'm losing my mind. All these girls tell them one at a time. Nigga still hating till them catch me outside. I'm finito. At home like Depot. She gon' suck it like mosquito. I ain't lying, she a Leo. Married to the money, dressed in tuxedo. I control your mind like I'm Magneto. Got my Vans on and they look like sneakers. Explore like door on a hunt like Easter.
Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the motherfucking house, bored, and I'm bored in the motherfucking house, bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Bored in the motherfucking house, bored, and I'm bored in the motherfucking house, bored. I'm bored, 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 bored. I'm bored, 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 bored. Hey, I'm in the crib like an infant with some Badu playing burning incense. Badu, tonic, gym mixed in. Snoop House shoes getting down in the kitchen. I'ma socialize at a distance. I'm living my best life, minding my business. And my anti-socials for the win-win. Lockdown, I'ma staying in. Ramen noodles every night for my den. Hulu binge watching episodes of Ben 10. Yeah. And I got T-Raw for assistance. Bad boy, I'm at the ball like a piston. In quarantine, I'm the quarterback. MVP, I'm scoring in the fool here. Shout out Doja Cat, more than napkins. I need more of that. Hey, can't find the remote, out of control, out of my mind, out of my hands, out of my soul. Under the code, got my locks blocked, blinded in gold. I'm in the house and I'm so damn bored. I'm in the house like Corey, where you can find me like Dory. He keeping me on her story, signing them all like a Maury. My competition is boring. I'm bored in the house and I'm bored. Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house, bored. Bored in the motherfucking house, bored, and I'm bored in the motherfucking house, bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. I'm bored in the motherfucking house, bored, and I'm bored in the motherfucking house, bored. I'm bored, 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 bored. I'm bored, 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 bored.
Let me check my chest, my breath right quick. He ain't never seen it in a dress like this. He ain't never even been impressed like this. Probably why I got him wide on his back like this. Like it, love it, need it, bad. Take it, own it, steal it, fast. Burst up, hang it, grab my ass. Not too shy. Shut it, save it, keep it, push it while you eating. Run the bush, knowing you want all this good. Never knock it till you try. All of them bitches saying I have you with me. All of my niggas saying you mad committed. Really to anybody you had them pretty. All of the body, I need ass and titties. I bet you gotta know it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. Your punches got to roll. You got to keep your focus. You wanna say so? Didn't have to know it. I bet you gotta know it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. Your punches got to roll. You got to keep your focus. You wanna say so?
For the gram. Bitches love the gram. Oh, wait, shit. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne, never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I pay her. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Met her at a party in the hills, yeah. She just wanna do it for the thrill, yeah. Shorty drop a little bit on top. But if I throw this money, she gon' drop. Ay. She don't wait in lines if it's too long. She don't drop the whip unless the roof fall. Only wanna call when the cash out. Only take the pic with her ass out. She from Malibu, Malibu. If you ain't got a foreign, then she laugh at you. Malibu, Malibu. Spending daddy's money with an attitude. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Roxanne, never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I pay her. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. In LA, yeah, got no brakes, yeah. Living fast, Ricky Bobby shaking bait, yeah. See the chain, yeah, it's a late, yeah. Swipe the chase, ooh, she wanna date, yeah. Shayne no blue, on the coast, ooh. Shorty only like cocaine and Whole Foods. Yeah, snapping all up on the grandmas, going crazy. Now she wanna fuck me in the foreign, going Malibu, Malibu. If you ain't got a foreign, then she laugh at you. Malibu, Malibu. Spending daddy's money with an attitude. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne, never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I pay her. Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night.
Quarterback, MVP, I'm scoring that. In the full here. Shout out DoorDash, for the napkins. I need more than hey, can't find the remote, out of control, out of my mind, out of my hands, out of my soul, under the code. Got my locks blocked, blinded in gold. I'm in the house and I'm so damn bored. I'm in the house like Corey, where you can find me like Dory. He keeping me on his story, signing them all like a Maury. My competition is boring. I'm bored in the house and I'm bored. Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. Bored in the motherfucking house bored and I'm bored in the motherfucking house bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house bored. Bored in the house, bored in the house bored. I'm bored in the motherfucking house bored and I'm bored in the motherfucking house bored. I'm bored, 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 bored. I'm bored.
I bet you gotta know it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll. You got to keep your focus. You wanna say so? Didn't have to know it. I bet you gotta know it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll. You got to keep your focus. You wanna say so? It's been a long time since you feeling love. You ain't coming out your shell. You ain't really think yourself. I know it's like do. I wanna do the money, won't stop teasing. And we can dance all day, you want it. If you find it, I'll be bouncing. If you want it, screaming, shout it, babe. If you try it, then not to own it. Keeping me in the moment. I bet you gotta know it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll it. You got to keep your focus. You wanna say so? Then not to own it. Keeping me in the moment. I bet you gotta know it. it, steal it fast. Boy, stop playing, grab my ass. You acting like you shy. Shut it, save it, keep it pushing. While you beating random push and knowing you want all this woman. I can take you try. All of them bitches saying I have you with me. All of my niggas saying you had committed. All of the anybody you had them with it. All of the body I need ass and titties. At the moment, keeping me at the moment. I bet you had known me. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll with. You got to keep me focused. You wanna say so? Didn't at the moment, keeping me at the moment. I bet you had known me. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll with. You got to keep me focused. You wanna say so?
When I wake up in the morning, I roll up and count my money. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All my bitches love me, they gon' answer for real. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All these bitches wanna have my baby. I'm so ransom, I'm so boring. Must be all my exes calling. I'm so wavy in a turbo Porsche. She's so wavy in a new Mercedes. See a good chick, yeah, I'm a type of lady. She ain't never had, but I did it for my baby. Baby, like Beyonce on the Super Bowl. I'm getting money, but she want more. She can get it when she want it. I'm so happy that I need a red carpet. Oh yeah. When I wake up in the morning, I roll up and count my money. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All my bitches love me, they gon' answer for real. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy.
Too many niggas wanna be him. I'm so wavy in these red tears. Rolling on neck, wrist, chest. Baby mama friend, she next. Dial 1-800 when you need me. On my ODC, you never be a G. Check my range, I'm stepping when you need a 3. I give a stroke for days, and when she need D, shorty wanna ride with a surf guy. Little nigga got more than an ex guy. Little purse costs more than your next guy. Tell your friends don't play, cause the sex I sue out the motherfucking man where I come from. A lot of pussy there ran when I come for it. Dab hoes, I be caring where I come from. If you ever in the gym and you looking for a band, my jam.
I wake up in the morning, I roll up and count my money. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All my bitches love me, they gon' answer for real. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. My dogs go crazy, oh so crazy. My car so wavy, my car is so wavy. My new chick so wavy, that ass is so wavy. Cause you know what I came in for. When I wake up in the morning, I roll up and count my money. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy. All my bitches love me, they gon' answer for real. I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy, I'm so wavy.
Yo, man. Open up, man. Picture this feeling on that naked, hanging on the. I forget that I had you there. All this time, forget that I had you there. All this time.
Mama, estoy vela. Esta es una vida solo es una vela. Ya esta noche me mama, estoy vela. Esta es una vida solo es una vela. Mama, oh, good day. She say I like John, she say I day. If I admit to her, what she say? I need to be my sister,
She got me on the counter. Wasn't me. Saw me banging on the sofa. Wasn't me. I even hit her in the shower. Wasn't me. She even got me on camera. Got the box on my shoulder. Wasn't me. Never work that I told her. Now the screams getting louder. 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 Wasn't me. I really wanna say that I'm sorry for the pain I had to. Listen to your reason, it makes no sense at all. You should say that I'm sorry for the pain that I caused. You may think that you're a player, but stop. Honey, give me this color and then this TV with the girl next door. Picture this feel about that taking, hanging on the. I forget that I'm in a relationship. All this time, we were standing there, you never took your eyes off me. Honey, give me that color and then this TV with the girl next door. Picture this feel about that taking, hanging on the. Banging on the.
Whoa, looking at my drip, looking at your drip. Whoa, mommy, look at me. Oh, I'm killing it. Whoa, swinging side to side and I'm killing that. Whoa, damn, your girl so fine, but her breath is like. Whoa, she says she wanna dance, but she don't know how to. Whoa, I'm iced out. Ooh, looking like a star. Whoa, her name is Jenny. Ooh, bitch don't have no panties. Whoa, I'm Steph Curry. When I hit the three, I hit the whoa. Pause, lean, hit you with the whoa. I'm saucy. Ooh, she don't like me. Whoa, she flexing on the gram, but her booty flat. Whoa.
Try to save my money, but I need me some more Louis V. She said take a skating, so I bought me some more jewelry. I like wearing off-white, but I'm black. Let's go with me. Don't say that she is black. How you know? She went to school with me. Heard y'all playing for keeps. I bought her and paid for leap. Heard y'all playing for cheap. I spent like 30K each. Diamonds all white. Yeah, look like a Dickerman bleach. Hit on my wood and I flee. I saw my neck is like -3. 10 times out of 10, I bet I hit your hoe. Ain't no average Joe. Born in 94. She wanna go on a date. I gave her chicken to go. Work chinchilla on my coat. She wanna ball it.
Got that drip, but I'm dripping Louis. This is D3, you only see in 2D. Do not sleep on me, better get a snuggie. My ice is TLC, man, that was chilly. Bang, 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 like the clip do. I've been sending with the jits too. I done been shot like this, so she gon' play common when I come back to you. Then flip a bean like so. Bang, hit that whoa, that my red do.
Off of the ground. Bitches love the ground.
Oh, wait, shit.
Roxanne, all she wanna do is party all night. Goddamn, Roxanne, never gonna love me, but it's alright. She think I'm an asshole, she think I'm a player. She keep running back though, only cause I